Hey, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Luke.
Listen. Hey, you look at me.
Give this man your full attention. You need to pay attention.
We're back.
We're
now,
back.
we've been away for a long time. Nectar for the Ears. Been away. We had the
We've been busy.
we've been busy. We did our little run at the beginning. Good run.
In the middle of high school.
We had 12 days of Nectar, 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of Nectar, Christmas, 12 days of Christmas event.
It was a good special.
We had a couple mini series. We did conspiracy theories, why insert shouldn't exist. Some of these may come back, but if you are a long-time listener, which there's millions, thousands even of you out there listening, because that's just the nature of this podcast, you will have known that we did a little bit of a change for a while where we did current event, political type podcasts, and that kind of transferred. Luke was more in the editing than the talking phase, and it was mostly just me towards the end.
I bled into the speaking a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, and especially towards the end there. I mean, it really was just me with that end of things.
He did a very good job. He carried the helm very, very well. Proud of him.
Yeah, well, we're back with like OG Nectar content, and we're still going to be doing the well, I should say me. Luke is going to get in sometimes, maybe Felix might get in sometimes.
If I'm passionate about the issue he's going to be discussing, maybe, but I found that I wasn't really into the whole current events thing. That's more Ethan's cup of hug barrel. I prefer doing the comedy, just fictional debate type show.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have both shows. This one's gonna be this OG Nectar content. People, I mean, hey, the millions upon thousands upon
millions is kind of a modest figure. We're getting close to billions.
No, we're getting close to thousands. I mean, we're closing in on the 1,000 number. But yeah, we're just gonna do this because it's fun. We both enjoy doing it. I like talking about politics. That's my career choice. That's my passion. But this is also super fun. So we're doing this, and we're gonna do that. So
I like exercising. Very mediocre. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's why we're here. And if you didn't notice, one, we have good audio quality, better than we had before. Listening to some of our old episodes, which we have since taken them all down. They're not gone, but they're all privated just because we want a fresh start. We didn't know
we still want to hang on to it now.
Yeah, and we'll get into our jobs in a little bit, because basically this episode we're just going to be talking about where we've been, where we're going.
Catching up the Nectaroons.
Catching up.
You need to know where we're at, what we're doing, and how we're going to structure this show from now on to make sure you get the highest quality content.
But we're both at points where the jobs that we have bleed into our personal lives, in the sense that things we do in our personal lives can affect whether or not we have a job. And so rather than listening to all the episodes and trying to decide one-on-one if this episode's worth it, is it not to keep, it's not good quality either, as good as we're going to do now. So we just decided we're going to private all of them. They still exist. Maybe down the line, if opportunity arises, we'll release an old episode if we deem it necessary.
Episode 13.
Yeah, well, that episode 13 is going to come back. That's going to come back at some point. Yeah, so
I'm excited for it.
That's what we're going to do. We're just going to get back into OG Nectar content, talking about different topics each time. This one, like I said, we're just going to be catching up. So that's why everything's gone. Fresh start. If you're listening to the audio-only version, congrats. That's where we started, but we're also on YouTube now because we have a camera. And the camera's not as good quality as the audio, but it works.
You give us the support you believe that we deserve, and it will get better.
But hey,
especially if we reach that thousands mark, up from the millions that we're at currently.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Hey, let me fix it. Hey, let me just say this. Above all else, hey, look at me, Luke. Hey, we're back.
That's fact.
So enough
pandering.
Enough horsing around. Let's get into the topic for today, because this is time into the video, and we have yet to get into the specific topic, which is where we've been, what we've been doing. We're gonna catch you guys up.
You wish you had mugs as cool as these.
Hey, do you want to go first?
I'll listen to you. Hey,
how about we do a little bit of rat-a-tat back and forth?
Don't you ever say that again.
Let's do a little bit of rat-a-tat.
We gonna exchange words if I have to hear that again.
So let me just catch you guys. Hey, let me catch you guys up. So as I've mentioned before on the podcast, but for those of you who don't know, college student. I'm 20 now. Luke is also 20, coming up on 21 in a couple weeks.
I was 21st.
Yeah, he was, because he is just further behind in life than I am.
That's facts.
I did my stint in college, and now I am done with college, and by that I don't mean I've graduated. I mean I just have stopped for full-time work, and that sounds like I dropped out. I'm not dropped out. I'm still in college doing one class at a time, online, part-time, to finish my degree because I'm so close. But I got full-time work now, and I'm not going to say where I work because I don't want people going to my company and telling them what I'm doing, and maybe I say something out of context that could get me in trouble. But I'll just say I'm basically a state director and political consultation. So take that with what you will. But that's where I am now. I'm moving to Virginia in a few weeks, probably about a month. Luke is also moving away for a while, and he'll get into that in a minute, but I'm going to be gone for several years, and we're still going to be doing the podcast.
As best as we can remotely.
We're going to be filming episodes before we both leave in this temporary studio. You like the wall in the background, the mics, how they're set up.
If you like this color, it's temporary. Heat it up while you can.
Yeah, I know you guys
it's
are
changing.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, really, that's all there is to it. So we're going to both be gone, but we're going to be filming remote, and hopefully it's going to be, I mean, that's kind of why we just have a temporary studio right now, is because we know we're going to be moving soon, and it's going to be remote. So we just have this for the time being because we really just didn't want to wait to film anymore. We were like, we're going to do it.
We were so excited to get started, we couldn't contain
let's not wait.
To God.
Yeah, let's not wait till we move and get a full-time studio. Let's just go ahead and film something. It's fun. People, I mean, the millions, almost thousands are going to enjoy it. So
eat it up.
Yeah,
like
eat
Reese's
it up.
Puffs.
So I did my stint at college, but I'll tell you how I got to my job because it's a little bit of a story arc, like an anime. Yeah. We'll talk about anime later.
I'm interested.
So I got a job. As you guys have known, I've been into politics for a while. That's been one of my personal passions. And then I did my run with Coalition of Good, which is going to come back in soon.
That's coming back.
Where I did my political talk show. I got a job working, I think I can say it because I don't work there anymore, and it's a bigger company. I work for Turning Point USA. So I worked on my campus, basically just running their chapter. I started the chapter and ran it for a while, and I got paid to do so. Not a lot. It was a part-time job. But from there, they had a full-time position open up. I applied for it, didn't get it. Then my friend says, hey, we have basically that same exact position open at my company, which is a partner organization of Turning Point. I'm going to be doing basically the same work, but just for a different company, better pay. So I was like, you should have told me about that before I applied for the other one. Because I like working with you guys. I like working at Turning Point too. But I can work with one of my homies. I can get better pay, same job. It's a good deal. So I go and I pursue that. And then as I'm about to leave to go up to Virginia to train for that job, I get a call from Turning Point about the full-time job. And they're like, hey, I know we told you no a while ago, but the position opened back up if you want it. It's not like set in stone, but like we'll give you your last interview and we'll get it going. And I was like, fantastic. I talked to my guys at the company I work for now, and basically we came to the conclusion that the right choice was for me to take that job because I was going to be competing with some of my friends for the job at the company I work for now.
If this sounds confusing, that's because it is.
Okay, let's give an arbitrary name to the company I work for now. Think of something I can call it.
Snickerdoodle political.
No, it's just simple like
Company A.
Company. We'll call it company.
Company.
So yeah, so I was about to head up to Virginia to train for my job at company, and then like I said, it was for the same job that I applied for at Turning Point, but it was just for company instead of Turning Point. And then Turning Point calls me back, and that whole thing that I just said. And so basically the conclusion we came to was I should take the Turning Point job because there's only one position open up for that same job at company, and I'm going to be competing for it with one of my friends. And while we like each other, we wouldn't hate each other afterwards. If I take that, he takes that, we both get jobs.
Everybody wins.
Right. And so I was like, I'll do that. And so I'm still going to go out for training just because it's still valuable stuff to have for wherever I work. Because it's, like I said, it's a lot of the similar stuff. But then I get on my last interview, and I think I do a good job. And then Turning Point contacts me and says, we decided not to hire you. I was like, well, you told me you wanted to hire me. And I kind of already got in this boat with company. But I was like, it's whatever. I'll pursue company. And because at that point I'd already told my friend, hey, I'm going to get this job at Turning Point so you can get the one at company. And I was like, since I'd already told him that, I didn't want to take that away from him. That wasn't fair to him. I was like, cool. I'll work for company, but I will just work in a different location because I didn't mind moving. So then I get to company, and I do like my initial few days of training, which was a campaign school, basically, where they train me how to work on campaigns. And then after that, I get into like the actual job training. And literally one day into job training, they say, hey, we have a position above the position you're applying for that's open, and we want you to take it. And at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm like, there's no way this is even, like, this is just crazy. The whole path that I had been through over the summer of wanting a job, not getting the job, then getting the job, and then not getting the job again, and then getting this job, and then thinking I'm not going to get the job because of the first job. And now I'm back here, and now they want me to do a job higher than that of which I applied. So I've now accepted the position, and that's what I'm doing now. Like I said, I'm not going to disclose the company. It's company. That's what they're called.
You've already disclosed it. It's called company.
Look up company on Google, and you will find my company.
You'll find a company.
So I'm working for them now, and I'm moving up to Virginia to do so because the job I was gonna do, I was gonna be
Take
working.
your time. Hey, listen, that water's not going nowhere.
Hey, that hug barrel, yeah. So I was gonna be from Georgia, where I live now, but the full time job I have to work at headquarters, which is up in Virginia. So I'm gonna be moving up there very soon. I'm already working now, just remote because it was kind of like a last minute thing. But that's where I'm going now, and so I'm gonna be doing that. You're talking to my boss and my coworkers. They're all pretty like honest about the work. Like yeah, typically people do this job for like 2 to 3 years, and then they go and do other things, and that could be working for a different company in the same field. That could be getting promoted for this company. That can be switching industries entirely. But that's typically what the lifespan is of this job. And I was like, that's fine. It's an entry level job. Good pay. I like the job. It's good, easy work. Not easy work, but it's work that I enjoy doing. So I was like,
much, but
yeah, man. So my plan is to do that job for a couple of years, and then come back to Georgia because I really like Georgia. I don't know where I'm going to be by that point. If someone offers me a job in which I make millions, almost thousands of dollars, well, then I'm going to take it. But the plan right now is to do that for a few years and then come back. And it just so happens that where Luke is going, he will also be back in a few years, couple years, year and a half is a
year and a half at most. So take the time to explain my dealio. So if
hey, let's. I don't mean to interrupt you, but before we get into that, tease it with your backstory and then get to tell your whole story of the last they heard was like you're back from basic training, and then we jumped into
that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
So if you remember, when I stopped appearing in podcasts, Nectar for the Ears or Coalition of Good or otherwise, I was going off the basic combat training for the Army National Guard, and I kind of left off from there. I did Coalition of Good with Ethan here for a little bit, just fill up. She was toast. And I wasn't totally into the idea of doing a current events podcast, so I kind of phased out of it. But at that point,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to preface: it's not like you didn't want to, like you hated doing it. It just wasn't
my type of podcast.
It wasn't something that you felt you were going to be productive in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
I just want to make that clear. It wasn't like Luke had any. There was no animosity between the two of us or anything, and there was no like I hate this. I am just unhappy doing it. He just was like
I preferred the type of podcast we were doing before. And so I amicably parted ways until we could work something out or start something else up. Because I love doing this, and I loved editing Coalition of Good. I just I wasn't for the whole political side of it. Now, if my bud here requests for me to come on and host with him on Coalition of Good every now and then for a certain topic he knows I love, I will absolutely come on, because I would love no greater honor. Because you're my pal.
Hey, shake my hand. Good time for a handshake. Hey.
Absolutely. Make sure you shake hands with your friends. That's important.
Yeah, it seals the deal.
Seals the deal. Strengthens the bond. Anyway, I'd gotten back from AIT, did the whole thing, wasn't totally into it. When I got back, I worked a job running cable, which, it didn't pay much. It was just hold me over until I got the job I really wanted, which was working for the fire department.
Don't say.
I'm not going to say the county. We're going to call it the company fire department because our employers happen to be in the same areas. So I applied with the company fire department, and I waited about 6 months and ran cable in the meantime until they got back to me and approved my my application. And they called me in and they had an interview with me, and they said this is it's going to be about a 5-month training school, and it's going to be harder than basic combat training, which we know you just came back from. And me and my big mouth, I looked this man straight in the eyes, and I said, "Sir, I hope so." And it was harder than basic combat training.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it harder than basic?
It was much harder than basic combat training, because newsflash, basic combat training is a little bit of a joke.
Well, I'm going to let him sip on that mug for a second, and then get right back to it. Hey, go for it. Hey, basic combat training is a joke. I'm not going to say that because
it wasn't difficult.
I didn't go through it. But I've been told it's a joke.
It's a joke.
Continue.
AIT was harder than basic, but that was a whole year. But it was a good time. But finished with the recruit school for company fire department, and I've been on shift fighting fires and doing cool stuff for about 6 months now. And recently,
6 months in addition to the 5-month training.
Yeah.
You've been there for about a year.
I've been in the company fire department for about a year now. Last month, I'll have been home from AIT for about a year. So it's been a minute since I've done any podcasting. And last month, I got a call from my unit first sergeant, the unit I got handed off to when I got home. And he told me that I am now on orders. I'm getting shipped off to Texas, which everyone calls it a deployment. It's not a deployment. I'm not going to be having any firefights with any people crossing the border. It's not going to be anything like that. We're supporting border and customs control. And they will be keeping me for at least a year, potentially a year and a half. And I'll there's potential for me to be either in Texas or California or Washington D.C. And I hope I get sent to one of those places because that's where he's also going to be. I'm not going to disclose where that is, but I'm not sure to say it.
I said Virginia.
Yes, Virginia.
I'm not in Virginia. I'm not in the part of Virginia that like tickles DC, but close enough that it. Yeah, it tickles it. I mean, let's just be honest. There's a little bit of a river, but they tickle each other. Yeah. So if he ends up there, then we're close enough that we could
hang out
and hopefully film
and record in person.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's mostly what I'm excited for because recording remotely has its downfalls. I don't appreciate it.
It's just enjoyable, man. Hey, I could shake your hand. I can look you in the eye, man. I mean, hey,
we can't shake hands over the telephone. Last time I checked.
Telephone, man.
Telephone.
Yellow.
But yep, I'm gonna be having a good time wherever I get sent. And hopefully we'll get back around the same time and we can pick up recording in person as we hope to do here. Improve the quality, improve the content as we go, and get feedback from you Nectaroons along the way. So I'm chilling out until then, and we'll be finding out what happens when I get back.
Yeah, so he's leaving mid-September. I'm leaving mid-September. I don't really have an exact date. I have to be up there by the beginning of October, and I have a trip planned up to my region mid-September, so pretty much between that and October. So we're leaving within a week of each other, and like I said, he's gonna be.
Which is so weird because like this kind of stuff like always lines up for us in the weirdest way. Like if there's like the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, it usually coincides between the two of us. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's weird the timelines as well because I'm gonna be working there for up to. I mean, like the typical lifespan is 2 to 3 years, and I might be there a little bit less. I might be there a little bit more, but my plan is to be there for about 2 years. I mean, anything can change, but it's not what I want to do forever, obviously, because it's an entry-level job. But he's going to be gone about a year now, so we're going to be gone relatively the same amount of time. So we're going to be leaving the same time and getting back within a few months of each other, ideally.
Like a couple of pros, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, his deployment could be less or a little bit more. I mean, the guard tells you it's going to be a year to a year and a half, but if they kept you for 2 years,
I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised, and you couldn't do anything about it.
No, I certainly couldn't. Well, I'd be happy about it. Take advantage.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're gonna go there, have a good time. I'm gonna have a good time where I'm going. Hopefully, I mean,
and then we'll meet back up, and we'll have another one of these talks.
I mean, hey, well, whenever we're back on like holidays and stuff, I'm sure we'll record in person just for the novelty of it. But one important piece that you missed out on in your story, which you're gonna get back to once I tell you. Tell them about where we're filming. The building we're in right now.
I forgot to tell the Nectaroons about where we're filming. Listen here, Budros. We're filming in my house that I bought with money, and I pay for it, and all these expenses associated with it. That's right, Nectaroons. Back in February, I moved into my own house. So now we've got potentially the best recording studio you could ask for, because if you are a careful listener of the show, you could always hear dogs scurrying around and doors opening and closing.
Siblings and parents scurrying about the house. People screaming
about their inferior issues, like they don't understand what's really going on in the world. I'm the protagonist.
Mama wanted to go get an Oreo in the middle of the night.
This is the protagonist right here.
Look, we'd always film at your house with your parents, and that was at 2 different locations throughout the course of the podcast, just because your parents moved. And I mean, there's just people there. I mean, we recorded at my house a couple times for Coalition of Good, and Felix would come over there. And I mean, it'd be the same deal. Like, you got dogs, cats, siblings, and parents walking about.
Which, if my mom says I'm not playing it, that's what the deal was. That's why I moved out, so I could do things like this.
Yeah.
Without interruption.
Nothing wrong with family. Nothing wrong with a doggy and a little kid, except for you. I mean, you don't like your dog, but in general.
I do not.
In general, dogs, cats, siblings, and parents. I mean, hey, nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with it. It got in the way of us making the highest quality show we could put out there.
Right, which as of now, we're putting out a higher quality show, and we've climaxed temporarily. Once we get a better camera, it will climax again.
You don't even understand how much it's going to climax.
Climax will happen. Climax will ensue.
Climax will occur.
Yeah.
Several more times in the course of this, in the course of media creation endeavor we've embarked on.
We've got approximately 2 fortnights before we leave. Yeah, you like that?
That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're Ideally, we're going to put out one a week. We're probably going to try to backlog some episodes just so whenever we're in the process of moving, not knowing what we're doing, we have some content to put up. But one thing where we've both agreed on is we're not going to hard stick to one a week if we can't put out good content. So we try to put out one a week unless we're just out of town or whatever, and even then we try to backlog.
And when we were doing Nectar before, we would make sure we put out an episode no matter what, and a lot of the time that resulted in subpar content, which I know you agree because we've talked about it, but like it resulted in episodes that we're not necessarily the most proud of because we didn't take the time due to life or just not having the right idea at the right time.
Not putting enough. I would say mostly we're just putting the effort into preparing for the episodes because there were some episodes that, I mean, I don't know if listeners could tell, but me and you could both tell. I had a 3-page note sheet going into that episode, and we discussed beforehand, I'm going to hit this point and this point. And then some episodes where we were like, this is a topic, and hit record. And then that was it.
And we didn't always have a note sheet ready or an outline, and to us it showed. So we don't want to do that anymore. So if we have to miss a week to make sure the content is top tier, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to. I mean, we want people who like listening to have a episode a week, just so it could be part of their weekly routine. But of course, I'm not going to give you guys dirt. You know, like it feels dirty that I'm getting anything out of you guys listening, and we're not giving you anything that I feel is worth your time. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're giving us an hour of your time or whatever the podcast ends up being, I mean, I want it to be. I mean, that's time. That's time you're not going to get back. It's got to be worth it. And so we're going to try to stick to the 1 a week schedule and even doing some things where when we are out of town and traveling and like whenever we're both moving, we're going to have stuff to put up. But if it turns out that we just don't have something, we're not going to put something up just because we don't want bad content going up. So we're gonna put more prep work in each episode and doing it once a week. And now that we're out of school, I mean, I still have college barely. I mean, I kind of forget that I have college half the time. But like we're both just kind of working, and then we don't have much.
It's a lot easier to allocate the time we use.
Yeah, we're both on
and the time to research.
We're both going to be on like 8 to 5 schedules, give or take, and have our evenings free beyond what we do personally. And so we're going to have the time to put in more effort into this, and so it's going to be better content, hopefully.
I believe it's going to be top tier content.
If it's not
thousands of views worthy.
If it's not, we'll take another year hiatus and then try again.
Might have to make it 2 if we can't make the mark this time.
Sheesh. Yeah, I mean maybe. So, I mean that's really everything to catch up on. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna be filming. This is just kind of like a welcome back episode where we've been, what we're doing, kind of deal.
We're back, baby.
Hey, but I'm just gonna say this. And this is something this is a story we're gonna tell later on. Hopefully, I mean we'll discuss if it's ethically okay to talk about what we did this past weekend.
Okay, yeah. I would love to talk about what we did this last weekend.
But I'll just say this. Hey, I mean, you never know who's listening. We made a new friend over the weekend. Shout out to that friend we made.
Shout out.
If she's listening.
She will. We will make disclaimers if we lads and lasses shouldn't be watching, because I like having our content stay up on the interweb.
Thing is, I know we can do a good job talking about it and keeping it set like PG. Mm-hmm. But it's just the nature of
community guidelines are so whack.
The entire activity we were doing in itself. Yes. Like we could talk about it in a way that's not bad if we just pretended we were at Walmart.
If we made enough code words such that nobody got it, yeah, we could make it.
Maybe we'll just call it Walmart.
Going to Walmart.
Yeah, but we were doing something else where people do things, and we'll talk about that.
People perform activities in a place in a group setting.
And there's people there. You can acquire
hors d'oeuvres.
You can get. Hey, I mean, there's beverages. I mean, there's waters. You can get a
Red Bull.
How much did it cost you?
I paid $6 for a Red Bull. You can probably guess just from that where we were.
They probably guessed a bar. We weren't at a bar,
or at like the movies.
Let me tell you this. I'll give you guys a hint, and we'll give the same hint whenever we're hinting at what it is in the episode. Since we're not going to say what it is, neither one of us are 21, but we were allowed to go there, and they served alcohol, not to us because we were underage. But it was a setting that had a bar in it. But there was something else going on in the bar.
You could probably guess.
And it was we went to South Carolina to do it because you can do it in South Carolina at 18, but you can't do it in Georgia until you're 21. That's where we'll leave it.
It's a very arbitrary law. I don't get it.
I mean, we just got a little underage wristband and didn't drink, and we had a good time.
I had a good time.
Took out some money and...
Yeah, I was about to say, don't give out numbers.
Took out some money in small bill increments.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we had a good time.
We had a good old time.
So, unless you got anything else to add, I think we just wrap it up here. I mean, that's
I don't think
welcome
so.
back.
I'm very excited to be working with you again in this setting. Very excited for the
Excited for
content
the-
we're gonna produce.
Excited for
fans
the
we're gonna gain.
prospect. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a good time, and check back a week or so after this one.
Mhm.
We'll have our next one up. Probably
Yep.
gonna be the story we just referenced because
I
we've teased it enough. I don't want to tease it for 2 weeks. We'll tease it for one, and then drop
don't
it.
want to keep you guys in suspense for too long.
Right. So, I mean, hey, follow the socials. Well, Nectar for the Ears
We
on
got our
Instagram. That's it.
socials.
I mean, really, I'm not gonna shout out anything else just because Twitter and Facebook, whatever. Nectar for the
We
Ears
got the Instagram.
on Instagram, and then like I said, if you're listening to
We'll
this
put the same updates on the Facebook and the Twitter if we decide to do that. But
right now, just focus on
Instagram's
Instagram.
the one.
Yeah. So if you're listening, you can check out the video on YouTube, and if you're watching, you can go listen to the audio on SoundCloud,
Listen to it on
Spotify,
the way to work.
iTunes, Google Play, wherever you find podcast. It's even on.
It's been aggregated by pretty much every podcast streaming service.
It's on sites we didn't put it on,
Mhm.
but it's okay because I don't
Just
care.
get it out there.
I don't care about the credit. I just want to be heard.
Yes, absolutely.
And listen,
Because
like,
we're protected.
so if you're, I will always say this: if you're listening to it, audio only, finish listening to it, and then also go watch the video because it's different.
This is all important.
It's all important. So at that point, I'm hey, have a good one, man. Hey, I'll take it easy.